Well, good evening, parents, and good evening, prospective students, if you are indeed joining us. And welcome to the Year 6 Induction Evening, where we'll be talking you through this evening all our plans for helping the students to settle in at what we appreciate is a crucial time in their education. And we do take the responsibility of taking your children through the next 5, potentially the next 7 years at Kingsdale very seriously, and we're really looking forward to meeting your children. We're really looking forward to meeting our next year's Year 7, as they will be, we get to know them over the course of the next few weeks and months. I wanted to start this evening just by doing a few introductions and talking you through the plan for this evening, as well as just telling you a little bit about the rest of the induction process before I hand over to some of my colleagues. I'm Daniel Harding. I'm acting deputy head teacher, and I also try and oversee some of the aspects of the transition as well, in combination with my colleagues. So the introductions on screen at the moment, we've got we'll be joined by representatives from the English faculty. So we've got Miss Brown, who will be talking to you about the plan for English. We've got Miss McFarlane, who will be talking to you about the maths programme. Mr. Otieno will also be talking to you about the maths scholarship programme. So we'll be talking you through later about how you go about the whole scholarship process. Miss Gregson will be talking you through art scholarships. Mr. Jones will be covering both pastoral aspects and lower school, and Ms. Turner, as our Director of Sports and Recreation, will be telling you much more about how the sports scholarships meetings. Now, this is just a part of the transition. This is not the beginning, this is not the end. This is all just part of our whole transition process, and hopefully you've already benefited from some of the one-to-one meetings between teachers at Kingsdale and your children. If that hasn't yet happened, then rest assured you can still book those slots to have the one-to-one meetings with a colleague from Kingsdale, just to put your child's mind at rest a little bit more. So, like I said, this is all just part of a larger process, and you will be receiving a lot more information, including this week, when we'll be sending you a transition booklet. In that transition booklet, maybe we'll answer many of the questions that you've got on your mind at the moment, because it'll contain lots of information about the curriculum. It'll contain information about the school day. So please don't feel the need to take copious notes tonight. We'll try and make sure that this presentation, or the presentations that you're going to see, will be available via our website. So we'll try and make sure that that happens. But like I say, much of the information that is included in this presentation this evening will be available in a booklet that will be coming out to you hopefully later on this week. We're obviously building on shifting sands at the moment with the COVID situation, but that booklet will contain information about every single subject that your child will be taking. So potential reading lists, what's covered in the curriculum for the whole year, where they can get support, useful websites, the COVID catch-up curriculum. It might contain information about the school day, timetable, breaks, what they need to bring, the uniform, all the things, like I say, that we will cover this afternoon and this evening, but you may want a little bit of a refresher at another stage. So I did allude just there to the COVID catch-up curriculum, and obviously it's the sort of elephant in the room that we need to talk about. We are very much conscious of making sure that the children catch up for lost time, and all the subjects, just to reassure you, have adapted, and we have in place in Kingsdale a full programme of measures to try and stop the rise of COVID. Just I wanted to talk to you a little bit about how that has impacted, and this may be somewhat breaking news for parents, and we will communicate this again in writing. But over the past couple of days, certainly the past working 2 days, we've received information from the Department for Education that we should not be proceeding with induction days that cannot guarantee, and to use their words, which cannot guarantee the integrity of year group bubbles. Now, obviously, at Kingsdale, drawing on a wide range of feeder primary schools, a very wide range of feeder primary schools, it's almost impossible for us to operate any sort of induction day in bubbles before the restrictions are fully released towards the end of July. So therefore, regrettably, the induction days that had been planned have been put on ice. Now, what we're thinking, just to give you a little bit of information about the way that we're leaning at the moment, what we're hoping is that with our wonderful free summer school, which will be carrying on from July the 22nd until August the 4th, I think I'm right in saying, what we're hoping to do is tag the induction on to that. Okay, so We're still really conscious of the need for the children to orientate themselves around school, meet key personnel, meet some friends. Okay, it's obviously one of the most important aspects of summer school, and we're still hoping to make that induction process run as we go through to the summer school. So let's just talk about the summer school a little bit now. If you've not already booked your place, then please can I refer you to the correspondence that you should have received via email, on which there is a booking form. Just to reiterate that point, the summer school this year is free, courtesy of the government, who've ploughed a lot of money into the funding of the year 6 into year 7 summer school. It's offered entirely free of charge, including the hoped for trips pending COVID regulations at the time. So the summer school is a great opportunity. It's a really lovely event. It's a chance for your child, like I've already said, to buddy up with some other students, so that when they come back in September, they've got a few familiar faces that they can call on. It's a great way for us to get to know your children, and it's a great way for your children to get to know us. So they get to meet all the characters in the school. It's not just about the teachers. They get to meet some of our lovely support staff, some of the learning mentors. So there's always somebody there to help them and to help smooth what we know is a time of real anxiety, not just because of COVID, but just because the whole process of transitioning from primary school to secondary school is such a key important part in a child's education. We know how important it is to make sure that the children feel reassured and that we help them through that. It's fun. The summer school is really great. It's really great fun, as you might be able to tell from some of the pictures coming up on screen. I can see 1 or 2 pictures there from Kidzania. You can probably see some of the sort of range of activities. So we got all kinds of things, from the many and varied PE activities that we offer, to the trips, to circus skills workshops, to going out to Chessington, to doing some cooking. So whatever switches your child on, if they're into their music, if they're into their art, we'll try and cater for their interests and make sure that they've got something to do. And there is an element of choice in what they do, but we do also keep at a core some of the core subjects. So it's going to play 2 parts. Yes, it's all part of this agenda of making sure that children have an opportunity to play, because let's face it, they've all really missed out on that over the past couple of years. So yes, it's an opportunity for the children to play, to make new friends and meet up, but it's also part of that vital COVID catch-up curriculum in which we help students to improve. And we know all the evidence from educational institutions like the Sutton Trust show that a well-organised summer school, and Kingsdale, this is not something new to Kingsdale, we've been running a summer school and getting it right for many, many years now. Can really make a difference of a good few months in terms of helping students to catch up in some of the missed core skills. So I'm not going to go through all the entire slide, because I'm sure you can read that for yourselves, but you've probably got a bit of a flavour of some of the things that I've been talking about up on the slide there. So just to talk you through the format for the rest of this evening, I'm going to shortly hand over to Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones, who is currently one of the Year 7 heads of learning, but also a senior teacher and director. Mr. Jones will be talking you through the programme for the rest of the transition. After Mr. Jones has finished talking to you about the pastoral aspect of the introduction to Kingsdale, then my other colleagues from core subjects will come in and talk you through the plans for English and maths. So they'll be talking, Mrs. Brown and Miss McFarlane will be talking you through the curriculum for English and maths. As I said, please don't worry, don't feel compelled to take notes, because all of this information will be put in a digested format, which will be coming out to you, emailed to you later on in the week in the induction booklet. Okay, so like I say, please don't feel the need to take notes. We will also make sure that this presentation is available online. So after the presentations from English and Maths, there will be scholarship videos. Now, again, if time is of the essence and you're really pressed tonight and you've got to get dinner on the table, we completely understand. And that's absolutely fine. You can leave the videos for now. Again, the link I think has already been sent out to you for those videos. And if it hasn't been, if you haven't received it already, you definitely will be receiving it again imminently. And those videos talk you through what the scholarship program involves. If your child is not interested in applying for any of the scholarships, bearing in mind that there are still scholarships to apply for when your child comes to Kingsdale, in terms of the art and the math scholarships. But if they're not at all interested, then you can feel free to leave at that point, and you can always watch the videos at your leisure, which is why we've put them on our unique YouTube channel. Throughout the evening, we'll be taking questions and answers. So using the question and answer facility, the chat facility, you can drop us notes. And like I say, the subject experts and the scholarship experts will be on hand to take your queries. Okay, you may have to bear with us. If there's anything that you do not get answered tonight, please don't feel concerned about that. You can always email us, and we'll be giving details of that email address later on. It's HLS, head of lower school, at kingsdale.southwark.sch.uk. But like I say, please don't feel the need to write that down. We will be posting that up in the presentation later on, and that will be coming out to you later on in the booklet. Okay, we hope you very much enjoyed the evening. Like I said, just the start of the transition, or mid part of the transition, by no means the end, and we're really looking forward to meeting your children and taking them through for the next few years. Mr. Jones, I'll hand over to you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Harding, and you can probably hear me. I'm not sure if you can see me yet, and you can see me now. Super. Hello. Thank you very much, Mr. Harding. As he said, I am currently Head of Learning in Year 7. He also failed to mention that I am here as a representative of the fantastic music department here at Kingsdale. So I apologise in advance if any questions that you have pertaining to music don't get answered when I'm presenting. As soon as I'm finished, I will get back onto the Q&A and start furiously typing to ensure that your questions are answered. So what I'm going to talk about is what it's going to look like for your child, and indeed for you, when September comes and when that kind of big scary activity of joining secondary school happens, and it happens for all of our students. So we help initially. We have regular assemblies that build a sense of community and build a sense of resilience, and encourage students to respect each other, teaching students the rules of the school, things like our no touching policy, things like our 4 L's, which are no lateness, no loudness, no litter, and no bad or hurtful language. All of our lessons are introduced gently by the staff, who will let the students know what they're going to be learning. And we do understand, in terms of when students first arrive, that they're not going to find their way around the school. So we do tell all staff to be a little bit lenient with students with regards to lateness to their lessons in the first couple of days. We also will have an awful lot of tutor times. Now, tutor time happens every single day, and that tutor, as I'll mention later, is a really important point of contact for both the students in Year 7 and for you as parents, as the person who is really the person that the students see every single day, and gets that closest relationship with the Year 7s. So they'll give the students maps in that first week, they'll give them a tour of the school, they'll play icebreaker games, and they'll have them, and they'll give them their timetables and let them know everything that happens in the school. So any questions that students have in that first couple of days, they'll be able to see their tutors, and indeed the heads of learning, who are the overall point, like I am at the moment, who manage that pastoral system. So in that first week, when you get their timetable, you can help by doing things like sticking their timetable up in their bedroom or in the kitchen, helping them pack their bag the night before so they know what books they're taking, making sure they have their pencil case, making sure there's an area for them to keep their books, using Show My Homework, and now we're starting to use Teams more and more. So writing down the students' email address when we give them their email address in their first week of term. So making sure that all of those information, those points of information, are ones that you have. And again, like Mr. Harding said earlier, don't worry if all of this seems like a lot of information. It all will come to you in the fullness of time. Really useful thing is that when you have school uniforms, of course, and it might seem like an obvious thing to say, everyone is wearing the same thing. So names on blazers are really important, so you don't have a tearful Year 7 wandering around the school trying to find their blazer that they took off, jumpers, and any PE kit that they might be bringing. Also making sure that students have a water bottle. At the moment, it's been reasonably warm in the last week, so it's been really helpful for all the students to have their water bottle with them to ensure that they're hydrated throughout the day. And making sure that the students have eaten well before school is really important as well. Although there is a breakfast club that you can make use of in the school, so students can get breakfast before the school starting in September. So we had some questions earlier about times of the school day. So I give you a bit of an idea of what the school day looks like. And I will caveat this by saying that there is, obviously at the moment we are in a bit of a state of flux. The timetable for us has been a staggered timetable in order to make sure COVID bubbles are secure. So this could be subject to change depending on what bits of the COVID timetable we keep and what bits are repurposed, should we say, coming into September. But a rough idea of what a day will look like is going to be similar to this. So currently for year 7s, our school day starts at 8:30 a.m. and it will finish at 3:25 p.m. As you can see, I've given you an example of what their day might look like. So they'll start with tutor time, then they'll have 3 periods before lunch, which is 55 minutes, although for the first term or so, we give year 7 students an extra 10 minutes. So they will leave their period for lesson a little bit earlier in order to make sure that they get their lunch on time and so that they have enough time to properly have a decent break at lunchtime. And then at the end of the day as well, for the first couple of weeks, if not the first half term, we'll let the students in year 7 leave early as well to ensure that they're not overwhelmed by the other masses of big students coming out and getting on buses and trains. So it gives them an opportunity to have a little bit more of a gentle end of the day, where in that first start of the term when they might be a little bit perplexed by their new surroundings anyway. A couple of things to note there, that if you want to leave during term time, and we don't generally authorize this unless it's really emergency situations or things like funerals, for example, then leave during term time does need authorization by the head of lower school. So it will need authorization from one of the senior leaders in the school. So please do make a note of that, which we really advise that students are in school as much as possible, because the evidence shows that the students who are in school the most make the most progress, get the best grades, and really make the most of their school experience. So they're in school, they've got their timetable, they've met their tutor, they are hopefully wearing their uniform. And I have actually got some uniform do's and don'ts. I'm actually going to go to this side first to give you an idea of what your child will look like once you have purchased their uniform items for them. This student is now in year 11, but I think this photo was taken when he was in year 8. So it's a blazer, a black V-neck jumper, a white shirt with a collar for their house tie, and black shoes of a style suitable for school. If you have any questions about any of this, please do email the email address that Mr. Harding published earlier. I'll stick it on the announcements on the Q&A so that you get that as well. Some very much do's for uniform: wearing their blazer, shirt tucked in. The house needs to be an appropriate length. We tell the students they have to have 7 stripes visible. Their black jumper should not be branded. It should be a knit jumper, so it shouldn't be a kind of a sweatshirt material. And if they are wearing a skirt, then it needs to be of a knee length and pleated. Leggings are not allowed. The students can wear tights if they want. And overcoats should be plain dark colours, and there shouldn't be kind of slogan or logos on those coats as well. The PE kit, again, all of this information will come out to you, is school issue PE kit, so the students will all be wearing the same PE kit. So please do make sure that you get the opportunity to get that PE kit and don't just send the students in any exercise clothing. For jewellery, a single pair of plain stud earrings or a single non-signet and a single non-signet family ring may be worn. Quickly go over some don'ts. These are things that some people sometimes get wrong. Hooded tops are not interchangeable with coats. If they're wearing a coat, it needs to be an outdoor coat. They can't put a hooded jumper on instead. Canvas and fabric shoes are not allowed. Suede leather or denim coats are not permitted. Hair may not be dyed to an unnatural colour, so that's unnatural for hair, not necessarily unnatural for that student. And overcoats may not be worn in class. Hats are not permitted inside school during inclement weather. So, for example, when it's really cold, students are allowed to wear woolly hats outside. And if it's really sunny, in order to make sure that we are sticking to health guidelines, we do allow students sometimes to wear sun hats outside. So I mentioned the house tie earlier, and I just thought at this point I'd quickly explain the house system. The tutor group system is based within the year group. So there will be a number of tutor groups in year 7, each with their own tutor. Within the tutor group, within the year group, students are divided into 5 different houses. These are named after birds: swift, albatross, eagle, dove, and falcon. So these are separate to the tutor group system. So you'll have different students with different coloured ties. So there are blue stripes for swift ties, yellow stripes for albatross, green for eagle, white for dove, and red for falcon. So what the house system is for, it's to give students an opportunity to forge relationships across tutor groups. It's an opportunity for us to promote the school's aims and ethos, develop a sense of belonging, and it brings in a lot of our extracurricular activities, and essentially to stimulate healthy competition. So we have house sports competitions, football, basketball, netball, various house poetry is another thing that happens, house activities days. So the house system is very much ingrained in the extracurricular activities of the school. So separate to the pastoral system, but also promotes a lot of the same ethos that the pastoral system promotes. So I mentioned extracurricular activities, and this is something that when we come to September is going to be one of those things that the students will absolutely love. It's something that Kingsdale does incredibly well. And there's many sports clubs, including your irregular sports, should we say. There's the normal sports that all schools will do, and then we do things like archery, swimming, horse riding, loads of opportunities for students to do things outside of what they might normally be offered. In terms of music, I'm a music teacher. We are incredible in terms of what we offer for ensembles, 40 different ensembles covering all kinds of styles of music, all different instruments. And then within the performing arts, there's drama club, dance club, musical theatre club. I know that I should mention as well, because and I haven't on here, that there's arts clubs, and there's a load of activities that happen in the art faculty as well. Chess club, debate club. You will get a breakdown of all of the extracurricular activities and when they're on prior to the start of September. So please don't worry if you're worried, oh, there's all of these things going to do. So we'll give you a timetable for your student to have a look at and see what things there are going to be suitable for that child. It's not just amazing extracurricular activities, the school does amazing trips as well. We have planned, again, with hopefully it being allowed next year, to do a year 7 trip to Paris for all of the students as a reward trip for the students getting through their first year of secondary school. The Maths Scholarship Programme takes students on trips to Germany and France. The science and technology trips to places like the Aviation Museum. They go to King's College, loads of other things. And even within school, we get author events organised by the English department. So many visitors coming in and talking to our year 7s as well. We also do ski trips, theatre performances, music concerts, trips to the Barbican, a water sports trip, history trips to World War I battlefields, etc., geography trips and languages trips to all of the countries where students study languages. So there's so much for the students to look forward to. And I think that's a really important part of what we want to get across, is that we're really excited to meet the students, and they should be really excited for all of the things that they're going to be able to get to do. So we mentioned just briefly the Year 7 residential trip to Paris. Here are some examples of students having a wonderful time. And this is something that we are looking forward to bringing back, with us not being allowed to do it last year and this year. So that is something to look forward to. And I'm just going to finish off by talking about the actual first day, which is on Thursday, the 2nd of December. When the students arrive, and they will be able to arrive at any time from 8 o'clock onwards. Although if they arrive even earlier than that, because they were really anxious to get to school earlier, there will be members of staff there as well. But normally students will arrive from around 8 o'clock. And then at the start of the day, there'll be an assembly. Again, assuming that restrictions allow, there'll be an assembly where the students will all meet the members of staff who are going to be looking after them during that year. And then they'll go off into their tutor groups where they'll do icebreakers. They'll get the tutors will collect in the work that we ask for the students from year 6 to do. So sometimes we get them to write a letter or bring in some examples of work. There'll be a treasure hunt, handing out of materials, so like planners, anything and timetables, anything that the students will need that the school provides, we will give them on that first day. We'll then have lunch, and then the students will go to their first lessons after lunch. So they'll have a nice gentle morning, and then they'll get to meet their lovely teachers after lunch. We'll finish with a fire drill to ensure that they know where to go in the event of an emergency, and then they'll get to finish the day at the normal time. So hopefully that's given you a very brief and very hopefully thorough rundown of what that first kind of week, what the transition to secondary school looks like for a year 7. As Mr. Harding said, if you want to keep in contact or ask us any questions after this, if you think of anything after this event, please do email us on the email address. I will stick this email address in the announcement, so don't worry about writing it down now. But please do make it known that you're a prospective parent, so that we know that how to find you on our registration system, on our email system, or our phone contacts. Right, I'm now going to hand over, stop sharing my screen. I'm going to hand over to, I think I said the English department first. So I'm going to hand you over to Ms. Brown, who's going to talk you through the English arrangements for our incoming year 7s.
Good evening, everybody. So my name is Miss Brown, and I am an English teacher at Kingsdale, but I also have a responsibility for the year 7 curriculum, and I also have a responsibility for literacy. So I'm just going to quickly go through some things that we as teachers will be doing to best support your children when they come forward and begin their secondary school journey in English. And then I'm also going to go through some things that you as a parent can be doing as well. So I'm going to begin with us, and I'm going to just talk through the ideas on my slides. So first and foremost, our curriculum has been designed to be really robust, thinking about the things that your child may have missed out on, the gaps in their knowledge and understanding from where they've had disruption to their learning. One thing that we really wanted to focus on was looking at ways that we can rebuild writing stamina. So we identified last year that a lot of students haven't had enough opportunity to do a lot of extended writing where they've been in and out of school. So that's something that we really want to focus on this year, because we really want to develop that writing skill and make sure that they have ample opportunity to write extensively. But also at the same time, we really want to think about active classroom discussion, because that's something that students have really missed out on from not being able to be in the classroom with their friends. And obviously, as an English teacher, that's something that we really, really enjoy about our jobs, is having those great, articulate, broad discussions. So that's something that we've tried to build into our curriculum as well. Secondly, we thought about our classroom experience. So students at Kingsdale are exposed to a very wide variety of texts. So obviously we look at things across different mediums. So we think about poetry, we think about plays, we think about prose, but we are also thinking about exposing our learners to text from all over the world. and thinking about things from different genres, different time periods. So the idea being is that they're really going to, hit the ground running when they come to the school, and they're going to be reading a lot, which is obviously really good. So as well, we've also thought about literacy, and we've tried to integrate that into our teaching and learning. So that is obviously something that we really want to build on from primary school, and we don't want anyone to feel like they're sort of stagnant in their literacy. So we obviously are going to integrate that into our teaching. And we will be running intervention sessions as well. So we're going to be thinking about literacy specifically, and we're going to have some interventions running around things such as reading, but we're also going to be running intervention focusing on things like handwriting skills and spelling, punctuation and grammar. So again, thinking about any things that you might be a bit concerned about your child kind of missing out on from where they've had a disruption to year 6. As part of our curriculum, we also have designated reading lessons. So obviously, as an English teacher, I'm very big on the lifelong love of reading, and we try to really kind of encourage our students at Kingsdale to be, active, keen and inquisitive readers, and that's really, really important for us. So we do have a weekly reading lesson as part of our curriculum. We also like to run lots of competitions throughout the year. So we had a really lovely poetry competition for our year 7s recently, which was a really lovely evening where the students were able to perform, recite their poetry to each other, and it was just a really lovely event, and there were prizes as well, so that went down quite well. And we do also run lots of extracurricular activities. Definitely more so next year. We haven't been able to do as many as we would have liked to this year, but we do some clubs during lunchtime, such as a journalism club that's really popular. We run a creative writing club, and we have a book group as well. So these are things that the students really, really enjoy. So now I just want to think about things that, you as a parent, like if you're thinking, what can I be doing to help support my child with English? I'm just going to run through a few ideas here. So things that obviously we would love for you to be doing is promoting reading for pleasure at home. So I know that we get feedback from parents quite often that their child is a reluctant reader, but I cannot enthuse enough how much, we really do value reading. And no matter what it is, really, I think it's just really important that you are kind of, going for it at home and thinking about how can I get my child to access reading. So, whether that's fiction, non-fiction, blog articles, sports articles, whatever your child likes, please do kind of, really enthuse for them to read. We will be sending out a summer homework task for the children. It's not going to be anything too arduous or too grueling. It's just an idea for for them to just come with something prepared. So if you could support your child with that, that will be sent out to you in the pack. And it's just going to be a creative writing task essentially. But I do think that, the students do enjoy feeling like they've done some work ahead of time. And it's just a nice activity for us to go through with your students when they arrive. So if you could support your child with the homework task, that'd be great. Our curriculum plan for the year will be on the school website. So if you do have a chance to familiarise yourself with that, that would obviously be beneficial to you and to your child, just because then you'll have an idea of the kinds of things that they will be learning about, and you can kind of keep on top of assessments, homework tasks, that kind of thing. Our first topic is going to be an introduction to dystopia. So if you would like to ask your child to do any sort of research around that, they can watch some YouTube clips, or they can just read a couple of articles, or they could look at some examples of authors or texts. I think that they will probably find that quite interesting, and then also they'll feel like they're quite prepared when they come into the lesson. If you're looking for online activities for your child to do over the summer holidays, I would recommend BBC Bite Size and then Oak National Academy. They've got so many amazing online resources. They're completely free to access, and they are really sort of engaging, and the students tend to enjoy them. Just a couple of summer events that I want to draw your attention to as well. So later on in the year, we're going to be studying The Tempest, and over the summer holidays, the Globe Theatre are putting that on as their summer show. So you can get standing tickets at £5, and that could be like a nice little summer activity should you be interested in your child already knowing the plot of the story before they come. That will probably sell out though, so I would be quick for that. The British Library are running lots and lots and lots of summer events, so I would recommend checking out their website because they've got lots of good things on there that you could encourage your children to be getting on with. And then finally, the National Centre for Writing are doing lots of workshops, so around creative writing, and those are all completely free as well. So do check those out. And then finally, from me, I just wanted to look at your child's first half term at Kingsdale and just give you a little bit of information about what that might look like. So you can see, as I said previously, that the topic is Introduction to the Dystopian Novel. So the focus for that term is going to be around imaginative writing, so creative writing, story writing, and they're going to write a novel opening of their own dystopian story as part of their assessment. And they're also going to be doing extract analysis, so looking at various kinds of dystopian extracts and having a look at the language, the structure, the devices that the writers used in order to create that dystopian setting. Some excerpts that we're going to be looking at then, so these are the kind of main ones. Obviously we're going to be looking at some other things as well, but some text, should you want to kind of look up synopsis or look at some first chapters, that kind of thing. So The Knife of Never Letting Go, Maze Runner, 1984 obviously, and The Pedestrian. Those are the 4 kind of main texts that we're going to be focusing on next term. And the objectives are, we're going to be introducing students to key reading and writing skills for secondary. Thinking about conventions of dystopian fiction. They're going to be looking at a range of extracts, like I said, and the idea being that they're going to develop skills in analysing language and structure, but they're also going to have an opportunity to plan, draft and write the opening of their own dystopian story. Okay, so that's it from me. So I'm going to obviously still be here, so should you have any specific questions for me about English next year for your child, just write them in the Q&A and I will be happy to answer. But hopefully you found that informative. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Miss Brown. And I think if we go to Miss McFarlane now.
Yeah, good evening. I'm just going to share my screen as well with the PowerPoint on. Let me know if you can't see this. So I'm the Year 7 Progress Coordinator for Maths at Kingsdale. Our curriculum is based on the My Maths scheme of learning from OUP. So we've got some lovely resources from My Maths that we use in lessons. Bearing in mind that your child obviously has had a somewhat disrupted Year 5 and 6, we will front load the curriculum with numeracy based topics, which should be familiar, but should be kind of good reminders of the things that are going to be the foundation for much of their learning in Year 7 and 8. But students in Year 7 will then go on to learn lots of new things, and they'll study shape, algebra, which is probably the newest thing they'll do in Year 7, sequences, statistics and probability. They use the website Hecate Maths for their homework, which we've launched this year and has been really successful. So they get 1 piece of homework a week, but they can use this website as much as they wish to complement their learning. It's got videos, really high quality videos on every topic that they'll see, and they'll use it right up until Year 11. And then it's got topic based and mixed revision quizzes, which offer them instant feedback. We'll give them a kind of low stakes baseline assessment when they arrive or near the beginning of Year 7 to identify where they're starting from and how best to help them with maths. Thinking about kind of recovery and support, particularly in this time, the summer school will have numeracy activities and we'll focus on some really key skills there, as well as getting them kind of problem solving and things like that. There should be some targeted support available if we do discover that your child is working below the expected level for the end of Key Stage 2, drawing on the National Tutor Programme and putting in place any small group support sessions that we need to. In their tutor time once a week, they will do numeracy activities, which will be provided by the maths department. And we'll make sure that these really focus on expected skills from years 5 and 6. And we're going to use the numeracy ninjas, which they may have seen in primary school as well, but to keep up numeracy skills and keep that embedded in the curriculum. Again, if you're thinking you would like to do something with them over summer to keep their maths up, what could you do? When your child attends a summer school, if they're attending, we'll give them a booklet to take away, which they can work through. So if you can support them with that, that would be great. There'll be some numeracy, some problem solving, but also a really nice thing for new year 7s is to get them to grips with their new scientific calculator that they'll have for secondary school, and there'll be some activities in there using that. Playing board games, card games can really develop numerical and reasoning skills, and is a nice thing to do over the summer that doesn't feel maybe explicitly mathematical. And I'll mention this in that booklet as well, but Perudo, set, blockers, chess, mastermind, or just traditional card games are all really, really great for strategic and logical thinking. The Enrich website, if you just Google Enrich, has some games specifically designed for developing strategic thinking. Most of these you can leave them to play online on their own, or a lot of them have kind of ways of playing them offline as a family as well. Really key thing is to make sure your child has really quick recall of their times tables facts, which is something they should leave year 6 with, but can be good to kind of check in over the summer holidays. Again, in that booklet, I will put these links again, but there's loads and loads of things online to test times tables. So there's a couple of links there if you just Google times tables games. And we will keep testing that throughout the year as well, with those numeracy ninjas and things like that. That's all from me, but again, I will be sticking around and I will answer any questions in the Q&A while the scholarship video is going on.
Right, so it's back to me, and I will be putting the scholarship videos.
Mr. Jones, before you run those videos, can you just clarify the start date for us, please? We've got quite a lot of questions on the start date.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, that was me making a mistake as I put it into a PowerPoint. Of course, the Year 7s do not start in December. They start in September. So I will change that before that information gets sent out. I was wishing for a 4-month summer holiday. But alas, it will be the regular September start date, not December next year. Apologies for any confusion with that. So I will now.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Before we go to the video, would it be possible if we could just answer 1 or 2 of the questions in the chat?
No problem.
Right. So I'll field maybe the first one. There's a question coming in about when do we get the timetable for the children's normal school day. Well, in normal circumstances, in peacetime, if I could go live, please, Miss Chapman, to me. Thank you very much, Miss Chapman. I just wanted to, if you missed the beginning of that, one of the questions coming in on the chat is when do you get sent the timetable for the children? And I was just explaining that under normal circumstances, you may expect to receive this normal school timetable well in advance, probably around now. But at the current time of speaking, we've moved to a completely different timetable for this academic year. And indeed, we had to change to a different timetable for last academic year. So it's not normal circumstances. I can't give you a specific reply to that one, but we'll endeavour to try and get that out to you. We'll try and get you a model timetable. There'll be a model timetable within the induction booklet that will be sent out this week. But that might be subject, just to give you all a bit of a heads up, that might be subject to change ahead of next academic year. Right, any other questions? A couple of questions coming in about shorts. Just to tell parents that with regards shorts, we are currently investigating whether we might be able to change shorts to make those as part of the uniform, and we'll update parents as and when we get that information. house group, Mr. Jones, would you be able to shed any light on when students get to know which house group their child will be in?
I cannot shed any further light beyond my understanding that they may get a surprise when they see the colour of tie that they receive, because the school allocates the houses over the summer. So when the students get their tie, then that will be like the Harry Potter sorting hat, declaring to them what house they have been lucky enough to be put in. But yeah, I will. What we'll do is I'll put that information in the pack that we sent out.
If I can come back in there. The house system tends to get determined over the summer holidays. So what we will do is you will get an email from the admissions officer, Mr. Tubu, who will indicate which house you're in, and at that point you'll be able to buy all the ties and all the equipment that you need generally via our school shop, a link for which we will try and put in the chat system, which will definitely be included in the information booklet that you'll be receiving. One very important piece of information, which will again be in the induction booklet, but which I will put in the group chat, is the link to our communications directory, which can be found on our website. So if you're looking to contact anybody, so I've had questions tonight about how do you contact the school transport service, how do you contact the Year 7 heads of learning, how do you contact any of the key personnel in the school. We've got it all in one-stop shop for that, called our communications directory, which is on the website, and which I will put as an announcement within the next couple of minutes. And like I say, that's got links to all of the subject departments. So any subject you want to get in contact with, any key senior leader that you want to get in contact with, all that information is within our communications director, and that email will go directly to them. Okay, Mr. Jones, if you confirm for me that we're ready to run with the scholarship videos, we will come back to do more Q&A before the end of the evening. So this is not the end of the question and answer, and we'll be busy trying to make sure that any questions are answered before the end of the evening. If they're not answered, please be reassured you can still get in contact with us via email. Like I said, it's not the end of the process tonight. This is just part of the process. Mr. Jones, are we good to go on the QVT?
Yes, I'm going to put it here. And we'll start with art.
Hello, I'm Jemima Gregson, Head of Art at Kingsdale, and I'm going to talk to you about the Key Stage 3 Art Scholarship Programme. The Key Stage 3 Art Scholarship Programme is an internal programme. Weekly after-school sessions enable our art gifted and talented and scholarship students to have access to accelerated learning practices in fine art, textiles, photography and graphics. They are designed to broaden the knowledge of art and design for the students involved and enhance their practical and theoretical skills. This specialist programme will also help students to achieve excellent results in external art examinations. Those students who gain a scholarship or who are invited to join the Gifted and Talented group will participate in a wide range of exciting workshops run by educators from external agencies such as the Dulwich Picture Gallery and the Courtauld Institute. So these sessions run alongside the weekly clubs that we run in school, and we have educators coming into the school to run sessions, and we also take the children out into galleries and learning spaces. So as you can see in these pictures, we have students taking part in a screen printing workshop which happened at the Dulwich Picture Gallery, and the images on the far right are from a project that we did with the Tate Modern. So you're going to be wondering how we select the students who become part of the programme. So when the students join us in Year 7, all students are told about this wonderful opportunity because we want to ensure that it is accessible for everybody. Now, we're very aware that many students sadly don't have much time doing art at primary school, especially in the last couple of years. So we really try to encourage the students to get involved in their art lessons and try their best for their homework, because this is a big part of what we judge them on. So we invite the students to submit a portfolio or folder of work that they have made outside of school within the last 2 years, and we look at that body of work alongside their classwork and any homework that they've done since joining us in Year 7. We also ask that all students take part in a baseline test, which will happen in one of their art lessons, where we ask them to do an observational drawing task and a piece of writing. So all of this work is collated during the first half of the autumn term. We then send the students off for their half-term break and ask them to return after the autumn break with their portfolio and their work, which they hand to their class teacher, and it is then looked at by their teacher and also the art gifted and talented coordinator. Now, we don't have a closed door policy. So if the student is not successful in their first application, then they are welcome to join all of the wonderful other clubs that we run throughout the department. And we do find that we often add students throughout Year 7 and then into Year 8 as well, when they are having more regular art lessons, and we really see their skills develop to get them up to the stage that we'd like them to be at for the gifted and talented programme. So within the portfolio, we are looking for evidence of what the students are interested in, how they think, how they work, and how they use materials. And as I've already mentioned, the work must have been made within the past 2 years. Any 3D work needs to be photographed and presented in the portfolio, as sadly we can't store any work. Students who decide they want to apply to join the photography programme are encouraged to include some annotation about their images to explain their ideas and thoughts behind their work, and if possible, include the type of camera that they've used to take the photographs. We don't mind what format the portfolio is submitted in, however, everything must be named. So it can be just in a folder, in a little plastic wallet. As long as it's got the student's name on it, we will look at it. So our students who take part in the Art Gifted and Talented and Scholarship programme, at the end of Year 8, they are given the opportunity to apply to study 2 art-based GCSEs. This is only applicable to our gifted and talented students, as we do know that our subjects can be quite time-consuming, so it's really for the most able. We really love to celebrate all of the hard work that our students do throughout the year, and every year we have a wonderful exhibition in our specialist art gallery, and the gifted and talented students' work is also displayed there as well. And we also round off the trip with our annual Brighton trip, where we take our students down to Brighton for the day. They go and make artwork on the beach, have fish and chips, and have a really great fun day out. I hope this presentation has answered any questions that you might have had. However, if you have any further queries, please don't hesitate to email me on the address on the screen. Thank you very much for listening.
Hello, this is Mr. Otieno from Kingsdale Foundation School. I'm the one responsible for the Maths Scholarship Program, and I'm just going to take you through what it means and what the provisions are, and also how you can apply to become one. So, how do you become a Maths Scholar? So, number one, Maths Scholarship is not part of the admission process. So you don't have to apply for scholarship when you're applying for admission to the school. So you only apply to become a Maths Scholar having accepted a place at Kingsdale. So next, your child will sit an assessment either in the spring term while they're still in Year 6, or at the beginning of the Year 7, so the beginning of the autumn term. If your child is successful in the assessment, they will definitely become a Maths Scholar. But in case they are unsuccessful Okay, they can also become a scholar, okay, when they come into class in year 7 and by the nomination of their class teacher, that is towards the end of the autumn term. If the child is working at a higher level, the class teacher will nominate them to be considered for scholarship. And when I receive that information, we'll examine the data and compare it with the rest of the cohort, and decision will be made as to whether or not the child or the student has reached the required level. And normally when you become a scholar, you keep your scholarship in year 7 and year 8. Then we normally review internally in year 9. When they go into year 9, most of the students just stay into the program till year 11. And even some, when they go into 6th form and they're still pursuing maths as one of the subjects in 6th form, then they can continue to carry that through to year 13. So what are the provisions for the maths scholarship? Number 1, there's an hour after school for each student in year 7 and year 8. They have the opportunity to just work with the maths teachers in doing a bit of problem solving and just enriching them in terms of their maths understanding. And then we've got about 4 to 6 sessions with Imperial College for a STEM program. They have an entry to the UK Maths Challenge competition, which is run by Leeds University for the UK Maths Trust. They have the opportunity to attend Maths in Action conferences. So it's a day out to just see how maths is actually used in the workplace. The guest speakers will be invited to come and talk about their how they use maths in their everyday life, which is really exciting. We also have the opportunity to enter students to do a Mensa IQ test. Normally, in the normal circumstance, if not for the pandemic, we normally have 2 international trips. Our usual destinations will normally be Frankfurt for year 7s in Germany, so that's around March, April, and then around June, July for year 10s to year 11s. We have trips normally going either back to Germany, so either we go to Cologne or we go to Florence in Italy, which have become kind of famous destinations. Small pictures of our last trip to Frankfurt with year 7s who are now our current year 9. How time flies. And then that is the same students. This at the high main tower in Frankfurt, the highest building. Get a really nice view of Frankfurt from there. Okay, so this is one of the STEM programs which we run with Imperial College. So on the left-hand side of me, the right-hand side of your screen, you've got students they have designed a rocket, and using pressure, they measure by time how far their rocket goes. And on the left-hand side, you've got students who are, I think they're programming a robot to make some turns, and there's an obstacle course which they need to design the robot to actually take. So really exciting things, things that kids that people actually use in industry in terms of maths. There's a lot of engineering there going on, which is great. So scholarship curriculum. So as I said, that in year 7 we normally focus a lot on problem solving. So critical thinking, how to go about solving a problem. That's our main thrust for year 7s. When we get to year 8, we start looking at slightly in-depth curriculum-based subjects. So geometry is our main one. So everything geometry is what the year 8s focus on, and then year 9s we're going to look at algebra. So that is the end of my PowerPoint and my presentation. I hope that was helpful. If you've got any questions, then please you can normally send it and we will try and require it as soon as we can. Thank you very much.
We're very lucky here at Kingsdale to have purpose-built facilities for our subject. We have classrooms, we have practice rooms, we have a performance area, and we also have a recording studio. At Kingsdale we offer 2 different A-levels, A-level Music and Music Technology, and we also offer the GCSE in Music and provision at Key Stage 3. In addition to this, Kingsdale offer different types of music scholarship for incoming students. This is a full scholarship, half scholarship, or gifted and talented provision, and this enables weekly tuition on an instrument or voice delivered by one of our peripatetic teachers.
Yes, who got their hands up? Correct.
This is the music performance hall where we have orchestra and African drums. We're just about to watch Kai play the cello.
Hello, my name is Mary Graham. Welcome to my office. I am co-director of Performing Arts and I would like to give you some information about this scholarship program. I'd like to welcome you to the steel pans room. This is an area of the school that's extremely popular. There are a huge number of children studying to become really exceptional steel pan players. We're in a purpose-built building for music. We have 5 large classrooms, a performance hall, 12 practice rooms, and a recording studio. This is one of our specialist rooms for music technology. It's well resourced with Macs. There are 3 rooms that have this equipment, and we start teaching music technology from year 8. This is the performance hall, which is used extensively for both rehearsals and for many of our smaller concerts. The kind of rehearsals that take place here would be orchestra, jazz band, African drumming ensemble, percussion ensemble. The acoustics of this area is really outstanding, so therefore requires often rehearsal here as well. The provision for music scholars is as follows. A full scholar will be receiving individual instrumental lessons or singing lessons. A half scholar will be sharing with another student of equal ability, and a gifted and talented student will be learning in a small group. The lessons are weekly, 30 minutes, and all pupils are being prepared for grade exams in both practical and theory. And we're an exam centre for the following boards: ABRSM, Trinity, London College of Music for musical theatre, and Rock School. Obviously, we do the theory exams as well, ABRSM theory exams. All music scholars are expected to attend 1 musical ensemble every week. This is in preparation for the many concerts that we give in the school and in the community annually. Children are going to be performing in concerts both individually as well as in ensembles. So it is really imperative that they're aware of their commitment to the music department. Everyone is aware how difficult the last year has been. I am delighted to say though that our music provision for the music scholars continued throughout this time. Lessons were given weekly by the instrumental and singing teachers online. Not only that, but we managed to provide fabulous concerts which we recorded, and if you go onto the Performing Arts YouTube channel, you will be able to see there's at least 20 concerts available, which were all recorded during lockdown. We look forward to welcoming you in September, where you will have the opportunity to meet lots of the other very gifted musicians. We do encourage you to make the most of the amazing opportunities that will be on offer at Kingsdale Foundation School.
Hi, I'm Mr. Jones. I'm Co-Director of Performing Arts, and I'm going to answer some frequently asked questions with regards to the Music Scholarship Programme. All Year 7s come in with their instrumental or singing lessons on their main instrument or voice. This is because we have so many talented students that it's simply not possible to give students multiple lessons on multiple instruments. We do find that we have more capacity as we go up the school, so some of the older students will have lessons on their second or third instruments as well. It's not initially possible to pick up a new instrument. This is because you've got your scholarship on the instrument that you auditioned on, which means that that is what has given you the place and that is what has given you the scholarship. So we do start everyone on their main scholarship instrument or voice. As I previously said, we do find more capacity, and picking up things like the guitar or African drumming or steel pans is something that many of our students do as they go through the school and show aptitude for it. Your scholarship lesson will take place for half of one lesson every week. This changes on a half-termly basis, so you don't always miss the same lesson throughout the year. I know a lot of people would like their lesson to be always during maths or during lunchtime or after school, but we have so many scholars that it's not possible to facilitate that for everybody. So your lesson will be for one half of one lesson, and you just let your teacher know that you're going. You get a card that will sign you out, and then the teacher will register you so you don't have any problems. You can continue with your lessons outside of school. You may wish to continue with your lessons outside on the same instrument and the lesson that you are having your scholarship lessons on. Sometimes students like to have different styles of lessons, so maybe they'll be doing jazz in one lesson and classical in another, or they might be just studying different syllabuses, or indeed sometimes students will stop lessons in one instrument that they know they're having lessons in school and carry on with their second instrument outside of school. Everyone in Year 7 and 8 has at least 1 hour of music every week. Beyond that, scholars get their theory lessons and their ensemble, as well as their scholarship lesson. Students who haven't got music scholarships do get the opportunity to join some of the ensembles, and we'll let the students know what ensembles are available to them when they start in Year 7. At the beginning of Year 7, all of our new scholars will be called over to the music department to meet the team and get their cards, which will let them know when their first lessons are going to start. So don't worry if you haven't heard anything. In the first week of school, everything will be sorted out.
Welcome to the Sports Faculty at Kingsdale Foundation School. My name is Vanessa Turner and I'm Director of Sport, Health and Recreation here at Kingsdale. During this presentation, I will hopefully answer some of the questions you might have about the Sports Scholarship Programme or sport in general before you join us in September. I'd like to take this opportunity to congratulate all of you who took part in the scholarship assessment process back in the autumn term, and say how much we all enjoyed meeting you. You all worked very hard and should be proud of your achievements on the day. For those of you who received a letter stating you reached full or half scholarship standard or were invited to join our Gifted and Talented sports programme, you'll now be joining us in September as our new sports scholars. For those of you who were not successful on this occasion or had not yet had the opportunity to apply for a sports scholarship, please do not worry, as you can become a sports scholar at any stage of your time at Kingsdale, as long as you work hard and are committed to sport at Kingsdale. So what can you expect as a sports scholar? All sports scholars and those students who have been invited to join our Gifted and Talented sports programme will be invited to attend Sports Scholars coaching sessions which take place each week after school. During these sessions, scholars will have the opportunity to receive coaching in a variety of different sporting activities. Our sports award holders will also have the opportunity to attend a variety of different sports trips, events and workshops which take place throughout the course of the school year. These include opportunities to attend national and international sports events and fixtures, receive coaching from top national sports specialists, as well as trips to top sports venues. Each year, the sports faculty also run a water sports trip to Spain, as well as European sports tours, and students throughout the school are welcome to apply for a place on these trips. Each term we hold Sports Scholars Celebratory Assemblies, where we celebrate the achievements of all our scholars and make presentations to those who have made outstanding contributions to sport at Kingsdale. Our extracurricular programme is extensive and will be published on our World School website at the start of the autumn term, along with online booking forms to ensure all students have the opportunity to sign up for clubs of their choice. All our clubs are free and open to students of all levels. Full details of our programme and booking information, along with clubs and activities from other faculty areas, will also be emailed out to parents in September. Students may attend as many clubs as they wish. Kingsdale's PE kit. All students are required to attend PE lessons and extracurricular clubs in full school PE kit. Please note that PE t-shirts and sweatshirts can be purchased from the school shop. Details will be forwarded in due course regarding our online payment services. Please refer to the school website for further details regarding PE kit and school uniform requirements. Having neared the end of this presentation, should you require further information or should you wish to speak to a member of the sports team in person, please contact us using the email address below and a member of the team will answer your inquiry. The sports team at Kingsdale would like to take this opportunity to congratulate you all on achieving a place at Kingsdale Foundation School. We very much look forward to meeting you in September 2021 and working with our new sports superstars of the future. Thank you for listening.
Right, thank you for that, Mr. Jones. Thank you for running those videos. Just to reassure parents, because this came up in the chat again a couple of times, those of you who want to review this presentation, we are recording this, so a copy of this presentation will be available, and we'll send out the link for that later on this week, along with the information booklet that we've talked about at length this evening. So quite a few questions coming in. We've obviously published quite a lot of the responses. There's still a lot of questions coming in, possibly coming in faster than we can actually answer them. But I wanted to go through some of those. We will shortly tell you about which house students are in so that you can pick up ties. I know that students typically pick up ties and some of the other things that they've ordered, lanyards, whatever it may be, from the school shop during summer school, so you will get to know in advance of summer school. Loads of other questions coming in, a couple about the scholarship program. A lot of people asking as well about the summer school program. We're very much hoping that we'll be able to accommodate all students who want to come on any given day during the summer school. So we've got a plan at the moment to ration the places available. So any student who wants to come on the summer school should be able to come on the summer school, and we'll try and make sure that that happens. Mr. Jones, quick question which maybe you could answer. Are children allowed to carry their rucksack or their belongings, or must they leave them in lockers? Oh, I think you've answered that one. Sorry, I've just seen your reply to that one. Right.
Mr. Harding, I see one, if I may ask, about lateral flow tests for summer school. Will they be required?
Right, we would very much urge that, but we are quite aware that primary school students don't currently have access, or to the best of my knowledge, primary school students don't have access for free to lateral flow device tests. I'll take advice on that, and we'll contact parents before the summer school. Obviously, we'll need to send out a lot more information about summer school as part of the whole program of information that will come out in advance. And in that information, we'll let you know about the lateral flow device. It would be great if students could, because obviously we're going to try and have to socially distance it as much as possible and keep it within fairly small groups. But more information about lateral flow device testing will come out. Any other common questions, Ms. Chapman, that have been coming up?
One for probably Mr. Jones. Can you apply for a music scholarship in September?
So for students who arrive at the school in September, then there's no need to do an application, but because the scholarship places are allocated before the start of the year, then it's based on capacity in the year. So if we have spaces in particular instruments, then we can assess the students in the year. So it wouldn't necessarily be a formal application. What we do is we ask the students to speak to their music teacher early in the year and let them know that they play an instrument and they'd like to be assessed for a scholarship. And music teachers will also be assessing them throughout the year in their classroom music lessons to see if they are showing aptitude. So like all of the scholarships programs have said, it's not a closed book, but it wouldn't be a formal application program. It more is done on an assessment of teachers during the year, and then we allocate scholarship places due to based on our capacity.
Right. And there's just one more, Mr. Harding, if I may, just a clarity on uniform. So do they have to buy from the school shop, or is there an alternative location?
Well, that depends on the type of uniform being purchased. They can buy fairly routine things like school trousers and shirts, as you might expect from any retailer. That's not dedicated. For some of the more specialist equipment like the school tie and school blazer, school jumper, sorry, not the blazer, sorry, the school blazer, the crest on the blazer, that can be bought through the school shop. There is a link to the school shop via the school website. Okay, so it's really quite a simple process. You can order you can order any items that you want to purchase from the school shop, including the ties, the crest for the blazer, any of the other the specialist PE kits. So we do have PE kit which has got the school badge on it. All those items can be purchased from the school shop, a link for which is on the school website. And like I said, I've already published the communication directory, which has got a link to all the email addresses. And if you go to the website, it's like a one-stop shop for the school shop.
I think that's it. There's a few uniform questions, but I think you've covered it and it's on the website, so I think we're good.
Okay. Right. What we will do, parents, is we will, and students, because I appreciate some questions coming.
Sorry, Mr. Harding, do you mind if I just, there were a couple of questions. I think there was a question about lockers and how lockers are, or do the students get lockers, to which the answer is yes. We do have lockers in the school, and when they get lockers, so they are normally assigned in the first couple of weeks. So for until the students get assigned their lockers, then they will be then they can carry their bags with them, and they have electronic locks, so students will get a fob that they use to pay for their lunch or to buy things from the school shop, which can be topped up using parent pay, and that fob also opens their locker. So that's a question about lockers. There's a question about identifying children with needs for assessment, for dyslexia or other learning needs. Now, what we normally have is a handover file from the primary schools for that. So we have information from any primary schools, but we are also constantly on the lookout and are in constant contact with teachers to see if we can identify anything that has not yet been identified through primary school. So we have a dyslexia specialist on site as part of our SEN department, and we have a lot of screening processes, and we have a whole team of TAs and the SEN department who can do access arrangements if they need extra time for exams. So we have a whole team to support students who have additional needs as well. And yes, we can share the slides, and we will share the slides and the recording from this evening's presentation as well. I don't think I'm missing any others. One more question about music scholarship, which I will answer privately, I think.
Oh, Mr. Jones, one question coming in is, are there bike sheds for kids who choose to cycle to school? I'm sure there's lots of children who would like to know the information, the answer to that. And I think I may answer the question myself. Mr. Jones, do you want to come?
Oh, it's back to me. Yes, there are bike sheds. There are bike sheds at both entrances of the school, both the back entrance, the Sydenham Hill entrance, if the students are coming from the rear of the school, and there are bike locks at the front of the school if students are coming in from Alleyne Park. Yeah, we've made a real push, especially during lockdown, when obviously, or during the last year, not during lockdown, but during the last year, when it was so important for students to use less public transport. That we have really invested in supporting cycling to school. So yes, we have facilities for students to lock their bikes.
One question coming in, and again, maybe Mr. Jones, if you answer this one, do the children wear their own clothes to summer school or uniform?
So they will be wearing their own clothes because for a variety of reasons. Obviously, we want the students to be as comfortable as possible, but as well, some of them may not have their uniform yet. So yeah, they will be wearing their own clothes. And obviously, as we've said, some of the activities will be quite active. So we would recommend that the students are wearing clothes that are suitable to do active activities when they're coming to summer school. Okay.
Could I come back in with one quick question? I know some parents were asking about when they will find out which house they're in. It will not be that long. So it will probably be within the course of the next month. You'll get to find out which house, and then you can go online onto the school shop and purchase the correct school tie according to the house that your child has been allocated. And then you can pick that up typically at summer school. Lots of the children choose to pick up their uniform that they've ordered via the school shop at summer school. If not, you can always drop in and pick it up from reception, and we'll make sure that it's available on reception. So please don't worry about that. We will let you know about the house within the next month or so. And then you can, like I say, pick up the uniform either during summer school or from the school office. I'm not sure if there's any other sort of common thread questions that are coming in. A couple of people. Mr. Otieno, are you still with us?
Yes, I'm still here.
Mr. Otieno, could you answer a couple of questions about maths scholarships? A couple of people asking if they've not been allocated a maths scholarship, can they apply again when they come back to school?
If they have not been allocated, have they done the assessment already?
I'm gathering probably so.
Normally not. Normally those.
If you could put your camera on, if at all possible.
Okay, that's fine. Hi.
There we are. And if you could just go live to Mr. Otieno. There, Mr. Otieno, you're live.
Okay, so normally we give the students one chance to do the assessment, and if they're successful, then they become a scholar. If they're not, then they go through the route of if they're doing well in the class, then they will be nominated by their teachers. So we leave enough room for those students who will come through the route of being recommended by their teachers in class. So there's definitely still a chance for them to become a scholar if they didn't succeed in the first place.
Okay, and another question, just while you're there, Mr. Otieno, if we can just keep you for one more question. On the maths scholarship test, are we revising, I think this may actually be from a student, it says, are we revising the things we do in year 6?
Yes, so most of the content is going to be things that you've done in year 6, but they're going to be a lot more based on problem solving. So there's a lot of problem solving questions that you need. So if you go to W.H. Smith and get any maths booklet, okay, that has problem solving as its main thing, then those are the kind of questions you're more likely going to find.
Okay. Thank you very much for answering those, Mr. Otieno, and I hope that answers the questions that those particular parents and students had. Just very quick one from me to save myself answering it in the chat. The Native Speakers Clubs, somebody's asked specifically about the German Native Speakers Club. but there will be native speakers clubs for any students who speak French, Spanish, German, or indeed Italian. We're trying to accommodate as well. We will have native speakers clubs for all of those subjects, and so students will be able to keep up their languages and push towards getting a GCSE early entry. Okay, so that's still very much alive and part of our plans. Mr. Jones, before I start maybe wrapping things up, is there anything else, any common threads that are coming out of the Q&A section?
There were a number of questions with regards to kind of sign up for summer school, when it would start, whether or not it would be awful if people missed a couple of days, and if they needed to change things, how they would do that. And I think that it's important for us to note that, you know, whilst we will obviously have to put in place plans for the students when we know when they're coming in. So obviously if people need to change a day or want to change their days, then if they could give us as much notice in advance, that would be great. But we do want to be as accommodating as we possibly can. And it will not be the end of the world if they miss the first couple of days, because we plan to do icebreakers and, you know, re-energize the students at the start of each day, because we recognize that students may be coming for their first day on any one of the days of summer school. So it shouldn't be a massive problem for the students if they miss one or 2 days.
Could I just come back in there?
Yep.
Right. Yeah, I just really wanted to reiterate that point made by Mr. Jones. The summer school is, you know, you can come for the full 2 weeks, and some students have opted to come for the full 2 weeks, or you can just come for 2 days, or you can come indeed just for a day. The one restriction, I suppose, that we put in place this year is that we are asking that for those students who are interested in coming on the trips, that they've maybe done at least 3 days of summer school before coming on the trip. So just to make sure we don't get some students just turning up on the day of the trip, because we think it's important, obviously, for them also to try and get themselves orientated around school. So that is the key message, and the key part of summer school is that people do actually get that opportunity to come into the physical surroundings of the school and maybe not just turn up on the day of the trip. But no, it's a sort of take it or leave it. It's as much as you want or as little as you want for the summer school, and we'll welcome all students irrespective of which route they go down. Okay, we're really looking forward to seeing them. If there's nothing else,
put one more in? Sorry, Mr. Harden, it's come up 2 or 3
on,
times. I'm not sure if it would be you or Mrs. Turner that would need to answer this. Can you wear leggings instead of shorts for PE?
Mrs. Turner, if you're available to answer that question, if you could just put your camera on and unmute, we'd be very grateful.
Over to you, Mrs. Turner. I think you might be muted. We can't hear you. No, looks like we've got technical issues. We can't hear you, Mrs. Turner.
No, right, if we can just come back in then. The question was about wearing leggings for PE, was it?
Leggings instead of shorts for PE.
My understanding, Mr. Jones, is that it should be jogging bottoms, should it not?
Yeah, I think I've answered one of those. Yes, it's not currently part of the school uniform for PE. So we give the option of either shorts or jogging bottoms for the students.
Okay, right. Well, I'm conscious of the fact that a lot of these questions will nevertheless be answered in our information booklet, and a lot of the information can be found on the website. And like I said, if there's anything that we've not really got round to answering tonight, first of all, I'd apologise. I'm sorry if we've not got round to answering absolutely everything. We've tried to pull out some of the common themes. But like I said, please don't forget about our communications directory. So you can channel any queries that you've got to the relevant departments by using our communications directory, which has got all the email addresses there. We hope that you found this evening informative. Like I said, this is not the end. Now I've stressed that a lot throughout this evening. We've got lots more information to come, including both our summer school and the further one-to-one meetings that are taking place. If you've not had the opportunity to take part in your one-to-one meeting with the teacher at Kingsdale, between a teacher and your child, then if you could check back on the information that's previously been sent by the admissions officer, Mr. Tubu, that would be very useful, because there should be a link there for booking a one-to-one meeting between your child and the school. Right, in that case, I'm going to wrap things up. There's no further questions. Can I just do a little stress test with my colleagues that there's nothing urgent coming in that I need to answer?
No, I think you're all good, Mr. Harding.
In that case, we'll wrap things up, and please remember that the recording of this will be available, so you can always access this at a later date. And don't forget that those presentations about scholarship will be up on our YouTube channel. A link for that has already been posted. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. We very much enjoyed your company. We hope that you found it informative and useful. And like I said, we're all really looking forward to seeing you both at summer school and of course in September to join us on this exciting educational journey. Thank you very much.